GGRC.
Hey everybody, welcome to the E3 2019 wrap-up show here on GGRC. I'm RC, and unfortunately, Sushi's not joining me today. He's upstairs with my wife, laying on the bed. I think he's over E3, and I know I am too. I am tired. I've been staying up late watching lots of trailers, watching lots of live shows and everything, just to see if there's any other new games that I want to talk about here. But I think I've pretty much covered everything I'm interested in. Today, I believe, is the last day of the show. And they are doing, YouTube and Nintendo and Twitch, they're still all doing their live coverage and everything like that. But I don't think there isn't anything they haven't shown yet that I'm going to be interested in. I might bite my tongue. You never know. There might be a video that comes up later that's another trailer reaction that I've done for a game that I'm excited for. So, keep that in mind. However, just so you know, if you go to my channel, if you're watching this before you're watching my kickoff show, I actually did a kickoff show last week with friends Dump Truck DS and AJ from VideoChums.com. We basically just talked about E3, our experiences with it. We talked about what we expect, what we want, that kind of thing. So check that out if you haven't. It's a good hour and a half in in podcast form. So if you haven't checked it out yet, give it a listen. You pretty much know everything that happened at E3 this year already, but this might give you some insight as to where we were thinking at the time. But regardless, yeah, E3 this year it wasn't bad. I would say it's one of those, if you had to rate it, out of 100, it's in the 60 to 70 range out of 100. There weren't a lot of things that completely blew me away. There was definitely one thing that completely blew me away, but we'll get to that in a second. But there's just a lot of good games coming, which is good. I'm totally into that. But there weren't a lot of surprises for me. There maybe were some for others, but there are definitely a lot of great games coming, which is what I'm happy about, which is what puts E3 up in the 70s for me, probably, because I know a lot of people are saying this is a terrible E3. There are a lot of terrible conferences, that people put on, companies put on rather. And, I can't disagree that they weren't exciting, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that they were bad. None of them were especially bad. None of the hosting was terrible. There were a few awkward moments or whatever, but this was one of those E3s where there really weren't any great, presentation flubs or anything like that. You had an appearance by Keanu Reeves during the Xbox conference, which is a huge highlight that he came out, and that was pretty cool. But other than that, I'm failing to come up with anything off the top of my head that was really bad. There was a time during the EA Play conference on Saturday when one of the guys who works at Respawn and works on Apex Legends came out, and I have the quote actually written down here because it made me laugh pretty hard. They're talking about new skins that are coming out for the game, and he said, "Our skin game is being upped significantly," which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, the only other one I could think of is that during the Nintendo Direct this week, there was a moment where they were introducing Doug Bowser, who's their new president at Nintendo of America. And when he came out on screen, Bowser was there, and they did this whole shtick where, Bowser's like, I'm the new president. Doug Bowser's like, no, you're the wrong Bowser. Get out of here, get off stage type of thing. But there's this little moment after Bowser leaves that the other guy who was on the presentation and Doug Bowser both come together like this and then face the camera, and it's super awkward and weird and funny. It's just that quick moment that really, really made me laugh. But regardless, yeah, like I said, no huge flubs, no gifs really that are gonna make you laugh. Really, there's a lot of gifs of Keanu Reeves pointing at the screen, doing that thing, but nothing crazy. So I think that kind of brings some of the E3-ness down. Usually there's somebody that kind of goes a little too far, might make a fool of themselves or something like that. But there wasn't a lot of that this year. It was pretty. I would say everybody was pretty responsible this year. So there's that. I'm going to go over real quick, just so you know, because we did a kickoff show, but after the kickoff show, I always do trailer reactions to games that I'm really looking forward to. I feel like I put trailer reactions because it really is my reactions to watching the trailer, but it means a very different thing for the internet, which is something I want to talk about real quick, where I put up the word trailer reaction, and a lot of people read that as oh, this is another video of a guy freaking out when they announce a game. And that's not what mine are. Mine are literally these are my reactions to this trailer that came out, and it's usually like, you know me, I'm not like a super excitable person. I don't get on here, I'm like, wow, like that doesn't happen. So these are literally my reactions here, but I don't know what other word to use. And it's not really an analysis because I'm not digging deep on these trailers or whatever. These are just like me watching it and like, yeah, these are some musings and my reactions to it. So I feel like some of the videos get lumped in with that. And if you happen to be watching this and listening to me talk about this right now, please note that like, please feel free to go watch those because I'm calm. I'm not freaking out. I'll talk about if I'm excited about the game, the things I like about it, that kind of thing. But this really makes me consider redoing the format that I do because this trailer reaction stuff has worked for a while. And I kept doing it this year because I thought it was still a thing, but it seems like things may have moved on a little bit. So I might move back to like the older approach that I used to do. I think I did it for the first 2 years, something like that, where I'm just going to review how the conferences went afterwards and talk about the games I'm impressed by, because the reaction stuff I feel like people aren't as into as they used to be, you know. So anyway, I digress. I recommend you go check these out, though, because these are games that I am definitely excited to play. And I think that you might be, too, if you go check out my trailer reaction videos for these. So I'm just going to name off the games that I put in this category. So we have Jedi Fallen Order, Yooka-Laylee in the Impossible Lair, Creature in the Well, Battletoads, 12 Minutes, Way to the Woods, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Minecraft Dungeons, The Outer Worlds, Psychonauts 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Doom Eternal, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Planet Zoo, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cadence of Hyrule, which is out today, believe it or not, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Luigi's Mansion 3, and Trials of Mana. So, 20-something games on the list. I didn't get an exact count, but definitely check those out. I'm not going to talk about any of those games here because you can go watch those videos. There will be a link to the playlist down in the comments, so just click that and you can go check out what I have to say about those games. In addition to that, during the week, I also did a quick save review for Roller Champions because they have an E3 2019 demo that is available to play. I believe it's still up right now. I think it goes through the rest of the week. So go check that out if that's something you're interested in. It's sort of like Rocket League meets roller derby, which is the best way I can explain it. It's pretty cool, actually. It's not a bad little game for an alpha state demo. I feel like a few more improvements here and there, they can definitely have something really important on their hands. So which leads us to the last thing we're going to talk about today during the wrap-up show. These are all the games that I definitely want to see more about, but I did not include trailers for them because you guys know my stance. My stance is I usually get excited for trailers that actually have gameplay in them. None of these seem to have much gameplay in them. If it was gameplay, it just looked like CG to me. But they're games that were intriguing, games that I want to know more about. So what we have here is we're going to start with last week when Google did their Stadia presentation, but they revealed that the Baldur's Gate 3 is in development. Now, they just had like a quick, CG trailer where this guy like runs into town and he looks really, really frightened. And he basically turns into this weird like Cthulhu character or whatever. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to turn into. Obviously, it's CG, or at least the trailer was CG. So there's not really much to go on. So I couldn't really include it because it's like, yeah, it's intriguing, but I'm not super excited for it because I'd rather see what the game looks like when they get to that point, right? Next up, we have Gears 5. Now, Gears 5, I'm excited for because I thought I was done with the Gears series. I played Gears of War 1 and 2 back in the day when they came out. And then when 3 came out, I got a copy of that, and I don't think I got past the first or second level. I was just not into it. I guess I was just over the game, right? So, fast forward to last year, they actually gave all PC and Xbox players like a dollar, I think it was $1 for a month of their Game Pass or whatever it was called a year ago. So I bought a month of it for $1, and I was able to play through Gears 4 because I was like, you know what, I hear good things about this game, let's check it out. And I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really, really cool. So I'm actually really looking forward to Gears 5. Now, I didn't include it in the games that I'm excited for because they didn't really do anything with it. If you watch the Xbox conference from this year, it was pretty sad as to how they actually covered the game. They just did like this real quick CG trailer of like the main character, the girl, with all these heads coming out of her, basically like trying to pull her different ways. She's not sure which way to go. It's obvious like she has a lot of decisions to make in this upcoming game. And they ended up showing the Funko Pop Gears game that's coming out, and they showed a co-op online mode for Gears 5 that's coming out, but none of it was like where's the gameplay for the normal game? Like, why aren't you showing like a quick mission in the final Gears 5 game? And then they were like, hey, it's coming out this fall. I think it was like September, October it's coming out. That was really weird to me. I didn't understand at all why they decided, hey, we're going to show off Gears 5, but we're not going to show the gameplay. Like, why would they not show the gameplay during the conference for one of their biggest franchise? Arguably, Halo, or rather, the only thing bigger than Gears on Xbox is Halo. So Gears is like right behind it, chomping on at the bit there to be number one. So I don't know why they wouldn't show like a cool piece of gameplay from the game. That really astounded me, considering it's coming out in just a few months too. You think they'd seal the deal, like, here you go. This is what to expect in the game. I don't know. I was pretty disappointed by that, to be quite honest. Let's see. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the game that George R.R. Martin is working on with From Software. I've never been the biggest Dark Souls fan, to be honest. However, what I will say, though, is that I do like George R.R. Martin's stuff. So I'm really intrigued to see what they're working on. There's a quick little CG snippet that you could see that they're working on it, but who knows when you're going to actually hear anything or see any gameplay from that. So there's that. There was another game that was showed called Bleeding Edge, which it looks interesting, but I have no idea what it is. It's Ninja Theory's new game. It looks like it's going to be a team-based multiplayer game. Lots of crazy characters in it, but I don't know what it is, what it does. It just shows a bunch of crazy characters acting up, somewhat fighting each other, and that's about it. It's just a CG trailer. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the gameplay is, so I didn't include it. Quick swig there. Also, one of the games that I am super, super looking forward to is Cyberpunk 2077. Of course I want this game. We all want this game, but I didn't include it this year because it didn't show gameplay during the conference at all. They showed a whole long CG story thing, and then they showed Keanu Reeves, which was great. Really, really awesome. Probably one of the biggest moments of the whole E3 showing, but it stands, that the Xbox conference did not show gameplay for it. So I kind of shrugged and was like, all right, fine. Now you could find gameplay for these during like some of these live, some of these live shows that YouTube and Twitch and everybody are putting on. But I can't catch everything. So it's quite possible that they did show newer gameplay. And somebody in my Discord mentioned that, hey, they released a 40-minute gameplay thing last year. Like, do we really need another 40-minute gameplay thing to show off the game? And I was thinking, well, for a game that's going to be probably over 100 hours long to play with that much content, what's 40 minutes? Plus, I also remember reading an article that said that 40-minute gameplay video that they released last year is obsolete at this point because they have changed a lot of the game so much that it doesn't reflect how the game actually plays anymore. So, yes, I would like to see more gameplay. I would like to see where the game is at right now. It's probably going to be good regardless, but even so, I would like to see it. There's one called Moons of Madness that they showed during the PC Gamer Show. I noted here that it looks like a very interesting space meets Eldritch horror type of game. So they didn't really show gameplay for this at all, but it's, it's cosmic horror meets, space exploration, and it looked really freaky. I don't know if it's going to be one of those horror games where you have to, escape the thing that's pursuing you or whatever. I hope it's more than that, to be honest. But the trailer definitely has me intrigued, so go check that one out if you haven't already. There was another one that they did called Remnant from the Ashes. Sorry. This looks like a really cool co-op horror game where you're fighting all these really gigantic, scary monsters, and that's really all they released about it. But it looks really intriguing. It's supposed to be, from what I can tell, I don't know if a player plays as the monsters or not. If it is, it's going to be like asymmetrical multiplayer. If not, it might be more like a literal Monster Hunter game or type of game where you're fighting these literal monsters, with friends and stuff. So I don't know. Intrigued to see where that's going as well. So Ubisoft actually showed off a game called God Gods and Monsters, I believe it was called. So they just showed like a real quick, like 30-second CG movie of this, and I was really intrigued by this because even though they just showed the 30-second CG or whatever, the art style and everything of it was definitely down my alley. Like I was looking at it like, wow, this looks like a fun, cool adventure game. It's by, I guess, the team that did Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so they're changing it up a bit and doing like a different series now. It's going to be a brand new IP. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what that is actually going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be some kind of an online, RPG that you can play with your friends or whatever, or at least maybe it's like Assassin's Creed a little bit where you can gain levels and stuff like that. But I'm hoping it's going to be co-op where you can take down gods and monsters with your friends. But even if it's a single player experience, it looks promising. It looks like something to look forward to for sure. So the last two things I have on my list to mention here are not really games to look forward to or games that are intriguing, but during the Nintendo press conference, or Direct, I guess I should say, they did show a new Contra Collection that's available on the Switch, which is great. If you're a Contra fan, there's a ton of games in there to play, and I think it's only like $20 or something, so it's pretty affordable. However, they did announce that a new Contra game is coming. I don't know if this is a remake from a previous Contra game, but it looks like it has 4-player co-op, and you can play as like a big panda bear, which is kind of wild. But it's called Contra Rogue Core. Now, I've been out of the Contra game for a long time. I haven't played a Contra game in like I can't even remember the last time, a recent one. I mean, I don't think I ever played any of the ones that were on the 3DS or the DS or whatever. Like I never played those. I don't think I played the ones that were on PS2. I think there was one on PS2. Never played it. But I gotta say, when they announced this, it was exciting. But when I saw it running in the trailer, it looks really kind of bad. Like, the graphics look kind of terrible. I was just looking at it like, this looks like they made it on PC or PS4, and then they really, really scaled it back for the Switch. So I don't know if this is actually coming to other consoles as well, but it looks kind of terrible. I was just looking at the way the characters look and the textures and everything like that. It looks really muddy. It looks like they lifted it right off the PS2 and just went me, and then put it on Switch. So I don't know. New Contra game is exciting, but I don't know. That wasn't doing much for me, to be quite honest. So the very last thing I want to talk about here is Banjo-Kazooie is finally in Smash Brothers. So this was probably, I would say, the most excited I got during the show. When I was watching this and I saw that Banjo was coming in, Nintendo did this. If you haven't watched it, watch the Banjo-Kazooie Smash reveal for the Direct this year, because it is quite amazing. They did this thing where they totally trolled everybody. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but it's amazing. But the outcome is that Banjo-Kazooie is going to be in Smash, and he's coming he and she they are coming this fall. So I was super excited about this because I love the Banjo-Kazooie series. I would say the first game is my favorite. I've played that game over a bunch of times, and still have a ball with it if I ever go back to it. Tooie was, it was okay. I don't think I ever ended up finishing that one because it got very, very strange at times. But Banjo-Kazooie, I think, is just an ultimate classic, and I hope at some point Microsoft will, take those games and actually fit them onto the Switch, make it so they'll work on there, because they already did the remaster of Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, I think, on the 360, so they're pretty much ready to go. They just have to port them over to the Switch, and I think that would be a great move on their part to get people familiar with the characters. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens by this fall, to be honest. But this has been something that Smash players have been asking for a very long time, and when they said that everyone is here in Smash Ultimate, they literally meant that, because they ended up adding in Ridley, who Ridley was always a joke character that people were like, oh yeah, put Ridley in there because Samus doesn't have an enemy in there. People are always looking to get the antagonists from all the other good guys games, like Donkey Kong finally got King K. Rool. He got in there, which he also had a really, really good troll video when they announced that Smash was coming. So yeah, this is just super exciting for all the Smash players. I'm not a hardcore Smash player, but I do enjoy the game. I load it up every now and then to play a few matches. And the fact that Banjo is coming to it is super exciting. They also announced that all the heroes from the Dragon Quest series they're going to be added this summer too. So that was the other character reveal. But everybody was much more excited for Banjo. And I can't disagree with that. I'm one of those people. So Banjo-Kazooie, glad they're both in there. Glad to see them in there represented. Really, really cool. I will mention, though, I know that they added their googly eyes in there from the original game, but I gotta say, Banjo's eyes look pretty friggin' weird. I know people were freaking out about the new Sonic movie and how Sonic's eyes don't look right. I gotta say, Banjo's eyes look pretty friggin' weird in the trailer for him in the Smash Brothers game, to be quite honest with you all. I kind of wish, like, I know that they went with the old school Banjo, you know, to put him in there, but I kind of wish they would have went with, like, maybe the more contemporary Banjo that they had in Nuts and Bolts, because he looked like a very good adapted version of Banjo and Kazooie there. So I don't know, just food for thought there. But guys, that is E3 for me. I'm definitely going to be floating around today looking to see if there are going to be other games I'm going to put up reaction videos for. But yeah, I gotta say, I had a good time watching all the videos, as I do every year. This year, I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. There's a lot of good games. I just don't think there are as many exciting announcements as people were hoping for. But overall, you know, not a bad show. Also wish there were a few more comical things that happened during the show, but it's okay. I'm sure things will turn up over the next couple weeks that we didn't, you know, that we may have missed or something like that. But regardless, guys, I want to thank you all for sticking with me and watching and hanging out for E3 here. I've had a great time watching all this stuff and talking about all these games and everything. So, of course, hopefully we'll do it again next year, right? But all right, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. See you then.